Okay,
Yeah.
here's the point. You just, notice the thing. First, you said that you could conceptualize it.
Yeah.
Then you said that you couldn't conceptualize
Yeah.
it. Now you're telling me that my mind is too tiny, but maybe yours can conceive of it. So
Sisters and dear friends, hope you guys are well, inshallah. Welcome to Salam Corner. We have a guest today. Well, he's our guest every week. You know, how you doing?
Charles, good.
Charles, how you doing, mate? And we've got Jake. Jake is from New Jersey, America. He's come to the UK. He's doing some courses with Sapiens. Do check that out, inshallah. So yeah, we're going to get straight into it. And hopefully, he's going to make a case for God, and you are an agnostic atheist.
Yes.
Only one condition. Whatever arguments he brings forward, you're not allowed to say it's irrelevant. Okay?
No.
That's good.
That's irrelevant.
I'll leave the table to you guys. I'm going to get you a coffee. And you don't want nothing?
Yeah, inshallah.
Enjoy yourself.
So you said you're an agnostic atheist, right?
I am, yes.
So you explained the agnostic bit before, but can you do it again? Why you're
Yeah, agnosticism, my understanding is that we don't know about God, or me specifically, I do not know there is a God.
Yeah. So why do you say agnostic atheist? Why do you add the atheist
The
part?
atheism bit is a belief. You are an atheist, you believe in a deity.
Yeah.
I am negating your deity. I am a theist.
Yeah, but you just said that you don't know if God exists, but now you're negating it.
Yeah, I don't believe.
Yeah, but there's a difference between you not believing and you saying there is no God.
It's the difference. What's the difference?
Because one is just not having a psychological state in which you don't believe in God, and the other one is saying there is no God. So which one is it?
No. Agnosticism, we do not know.
Exactly. One is saying you don't know.
Yeah.
The other is saying there is no God. And
No, I never said there isn't a God.
I know, but I'm showing you how the term is actually contradictory. To say agnostic atheist is contradictory, because in the first part, you're saying you don't know if there's a God. In the second part, you're saying there is no God.
Once again, I never said there's not a God.
I know.
So, do I know there's a God? No, I don't.
Do you know that there is no God?
Do I know there's not a God?
Yeah.
No.
Then you're not an atheist.
No, I am. So, what I'm saying is, you are a theist and you believe there's a God. Do you not?
No, I know there's a God.
Do you believe in God?
Yes, I do.
I do not believe in God.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because I haven't had sufficient evidence.
Yeah, but does that mean that you say that God doesn't exist? You don't say that.
I never said that.
So my point is, the term atheist or atheism in philosophy is not how you defined it. You just made that own definition up.
No, I haven't.
Yes, you have.
There are
There's
lots.
a distinction between weak and strong atheism.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So weak atheism says it's just the statement that there's not sufficient evidence to believe in God, therefore the appropriate stance is not to believe.
Yeah, that's not how it's
No, there's a
defined.
distinction between strong and weak
Yeah,
atheism.
hold on a second.
So with that said,
That's not how it's defined in philosophy.
That's not true, you're wrong.
yeah. So
Okay, what's your proof? Can you show me?
Just look up strong and weak atheism. Just go
No. I can show you the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy entry on atheism, which is the standard. Okay, let me pull it up for you and read it.
Wikipedia over the Stanford.
No, we don't deal with Wikipedia, dude. What are you talking about?
It's a very good state. It is.
Okay,
anyway,
I'll
it's
show
my
you.
position.
Encyclopedias, really.
Whether the definitions are in there or not, that's my position specifically. No.
Worse than Stanford Encyclopedia.
It is. It's an academic source. What are you talking about?
Wikipedia is used all the time by academics.
I agree to an extent.
I can assure you it's used all the time. I've published academic papers and I can tell you people use Wikipedia all the time.
So am I wrong?
I'll read it for you.
Can I be an agnostic atheist?
Let me quote it
Depends
for
on the
you.
definition. Here's the thing. Words don't have single definitions.
Okay, let me quote it for you. Let me quote it for you. It says atheism is typically defined in terms of theism. Theism, in turn, is best understood as a proposition, something that is either true or false. It is often defined as the belief that God exists, but here belief means something believed. It refers to the propositional content of belief, not the attitude or psychological state of believing, which is what you're talking about. This is why it makes sense to say that theism is true or false and to argue for or against theism. If, however, Atheism is defined in terms of theism, and theism is the proposition that God exists, and not the psychological condition of believing that there is a God, then it follows that atheism is not the mere absence of the psychological condition of believing that God exists. More on this below. The A in atheism must be understood as a negation instead of absence, as not instead of without. Therefore, in philosophy at least, not this Wikipedia or whatever you're bringing up, atheism should be construed as the proposition that God does not exist.
Right, okay, hang on. And you'll notice, hang on. You'll notice it said if in those statements.
If what?
It said if
it says
this,
in philosophy. This is the standard in philosophy. This is the standard definition in philosophy. I can show you where the rinky-dink definition you got is.
You did say your position is the negation of his.
Yeah.
Rather than deal with the whole thing.
That's what I said initially.
So
negation.
One party says he doesn't believe that there is a God. Deal with that.
No, I'm not, because he said he's an agnostic atheist. I'm dealing with that point first. I'm saying that you're contradicting. Your position is contradictory.
It's a confused definition.
You're basically looking at
you know where that definition came from?
Right.
Do you know where that definition came from? The one that you got?
No, let him have a conversation. Phil, let him have a conversation with this.
Do you know where the definition came from? Of lacking belief in God is defined as atheism. That's how atheism is defined. That's what the new atheists tell you, but do you know where that came from? Because I could read you another quote where it came from.
You're going to get bogged down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're getting bogged down with...
Because what I'm saying is you need to be clear on your position. You're actually an agnostic. You're not an atheist. That's my point.
Right, so on Wikipedia it says
In
atheism
your...
has been regarded as compatible with...
Listen, my friend, we're having a discussion here.
Phil,
You can wait your turn.
after they finish, it'll be brilliant to have a discussion with Jake. If you just give us about 10-15 minutes, Phil. It's good. You came at the right time. Sorry.
So back to the point. You're an agnostic because why? You don't think that you have sufficient reason to believe in God, right?
I just released a new video. You got someone that might want to discuss this topic?
As I said before, I don't know there's a God.
And you don't know if there isn't.
And I don't know there isn't.
Yeah.
I also don't believe there's a God.
Yeah.
But if you can present to me, demonstrate to me, then I'll believe.
So what arguments for God's existence have you heard?
Arguments for God's existence.
Yeah. Meaning, what's the evidence that you've looked at to where you're not sure at this point? What have you surveyed?
The typical one for me would be he exists outside of time and space.
No. What I'm saying is,
His existence.
If I say that to you that God exists, and you've talked to other people that have said God exists before, right? What do they usually tell you to try to provide evidence for that? What's the evidence?
For me to provide evidence.
No. The theist, me.
Yeah.
What are the arguments that you've heard before when somebody has tried to persuade to you that God exists? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, basically all the omnis. He's the creator of the universe.
So the fact that creation exists?
Creation, yeah.
No, I think what he's referring to is just the attributes of God. What he's asking for is what arguments have you heard? So usually people give reasons
for why they believe
to lead to a particular conclusion. That conclusion would be that God exists. So like a number of them might be, for example, the kalam argument, or the argument from dependency, or
the philosophical argument.
Yeah. So I'm saying, are you familiar with them?
Yeah.
Okay, so which ones have you heard? Which ones are you familiar with?
You know, all the like ontological kalam argument from design.
Okay. So have you heard of the contingency argument?
I've heard the contingency, but if you want to run over that again.
Yeah, so the contingency argument is basically that in the world we see that there are dependent things that are contingent, that don't have to exist. For example, this little booklet doesn't have to exist. It probably won't in, I don't know, a matter of years, right? You agree with that? So all of the things that we experience, generally speaking, are limited, dependent, and contingent things.
Yeah,
they don't have to exist, right? You agree with that? So the question is, why do they exist? I'm asking you.
Well, the material things on Earth You know, humans have made them
Yeah, but what's the explanation for it?
with a purpose.
Meaning, where did it come from? What's the explanation for it? Because we can have an explanation for this book, but if we go back and back further and further, is there ever a stopping point?
I say yes.
And what's that stopping point?
Where it been created, made, no?
Well, if it was created or made, who created or made
Well,
it?
but that's the thing. Created.
Yeah.
What's is the definition of create?
Well, you just used it, so you tell me.
Yeah, but it's kind of ambiguous, isn't it? Did we create the book or did we make a book?
Actually, it's synonymous.
I mean, yes.
Synonymous, yeah. So, can I trace the book back to where?
Well, you might not know, but we can, yeah.
So humans,
Yeah. we
Can
trace
create.
this back.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm saying, is there a stopping point, or does this explanation go on and on forever? Meaning, I can give an explanation where this book came from, right? But then we go back further to the explanation of that, and further and further, further. Do we ever get to a stopping point, or is there an infinite regress of explanations?
I think there's a stopping point.
Okay, if there's a stopping point, is that stopping point contingent or is it necessary?
Contingent.
Why?
To start off specifically with that book,
Yeah,
we have to have something to have made it, no?
exactly. So we keep going back. Don't get bogged down in the book example.
It was just an example.
Yeah, I'm saying we go back from the book to the materials that it was made from, before that, and each thing is being explained. So
that's a logical.
yeah. So for example, this book that's contingent.
Yeah.
It's being explained by something else that's contingent,
Yeah.
right? Human beings created it. They made it. The paper that it's made out of is also contingent.
Yep.
Meaning that it didn't have to exist.
Uh-huh.
So I'm saying when we keep explaining things one after another in
Yep.
the chain of contingent things, do we ever get back to something that's necessary? Or are you saying at the beginning of the chain, there's also something there that's still contingent? And if that's the case, what's the difference between the book and that first contingent thing in the chain? Because if this needs an explanation, why wouldn't the first thing?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So what's your answer, brother?
How would I know?
What's that?
How would I know?
Well, do you believe that contingent things require an explanation? In other words, something that doesn't have to exist. If we see things that we know don't have to exist as human beings, we seek out an explanation for why they exist, right? We say, oh, why does this book here? Or why is this cup here? There's an explanation for it because it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
So if all contingent things have an explanation, then what's the explanation for the first contingent thing?
I don't know.
You don't know, but what I'm saying is you have to get to eventually you have to get to a point in which you get to an entity in which he is necessary rather than contingent, which can explain all of the rest of contingent reality.
Okay.
Otherwise, you, just like this book, everything in the chain that you think that you're explaining goes back and back, but the first point you have no explanation for it. So there's no connection between that and everything else that follows.
Okay.
So now you have everything has been unexplained. Nothing's explained.
Okay. So let's get back to your God concept.
Yeah, so my point is, in order to explain contingent existence, things that exist, you need to get back to something that is necessary, which couldn't fail to exist, which therefore explains all the rest of contingent reality.
Okay. Yeah.
So it'd be a unique type of being.
So we're talking about, let's talk about the cosmos with the universe, what we're in now.
Yeah.
The chain of contingent things. The chain of contingent things.
Yeah.
Are you saying your God did this?
Of course.
Okay.
But I'm saying that chain. So we took the book as an example, and we're going back and back in the chain.
Yeah.
That chain itself, is it necessary or contingent? It's contingent because it didn't have to exist. Unless you want to say it's necessary, because if you think that that chain is necessary...
Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So your God is necessary?
Yeah.
And with the logic that we've just followed, there's no regress on him.
What do you mean? The chain stops with him? He's a necessary being.
Yeah, he's a necessary being.
Yeah, and all contingent reality flows from him.
From him.
Yeah.
Nothing before him.
No.
Is that logic?
Why not? What's illogical about it?
Because we've just done regressions.
Yeah, in the chain.
And then it stopped.
And yeah, we asked at the beginning, that first initial thing, let's call it the initial thing.
Initial.
Yeah, the first item.
Yeah, I got it. I've got it.
The first item, I asked you, was it necessary or contingent? You said contingent.
Yeah.
I explained the problem with it because if contingent things require an explanation, then there's no difference in this contingent book requiring explanation and the first thing that's contingent require an explanation.
I'm confused.
Okay. So this book is...
No, 1 second. I'm not confused with... I'm confused with the necessary.
Yeah, but I'm explaining how we got there.
How do we get to necessary?
Exactly. That's what I'm explaining, how we got there. So if contingent things require an explanation, even if you say that there's a stopping point for the chain, the first item that's in the chain is contingent. That's what you said.
Yeah.
You said it was contingent.
Yeah.
So that first thing requires an explanation. You don't have an explanation.
I do not have an explanation.
If you don't have an explanation for the first thing in the chain, everything else that follows from it, what's the explanation? Because the entire chain itself is possible. It doesn't have to exist.
Yeah. Something initially happened, and then everything else from that is contingent.
Yeah, so that first thing, was it eternal?
Was it?
Or did it begin? Yeah, did it begin to exist?
That would be hard to... Did it begin to exist?
Yeah.
Did it begin to exist? That's a hard one, no? How'd you work that one out?
What do you mean, sorry?
Did it come out of nothing?
Is it eternal? Infinite?
Yeah. Or did it have a beginning?
How will I ever know? Is that my mind
I'm asking
you. I don't know.
You don't know.
With the intellect I have, I don't know. What is infinite? That's a mathematical.
So, do you think it's possible for something to come from nothing?
Is it possible? Yeah. How?
So, again, you think it's possible for something to come from nothing?
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
No.
You can't?
No.
So why would you believe that?
Faith.
Faith. So you have faith that something can come from nothing.
Am I not allowed to have faith?
I mean,
have you got the monopoly on faith?
No, you can have faith,
Thank
brother,
you.
but I'm just
I'll
pointing
take
out,
the faith that something came from
let's
nothing.
Think about that. Why? Why do you have faith in that? Think about it. Why do you have faith in that?
Why?
That's a tough one, right?
In all possible worlds.
Yeah.
That can happen.
What do you mean? Sorry.
In an infinite possibilities.
Yeah.
Can that happen?
Okay, so let's think about this.
No, it's a simple. It's a question.
Yeah, I'm saying it's impossible.
It's impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Have you investigated all impossibilities?
Yeah, this possibility.
No. Do you hear what I said?
Yeah.
Have you personally investigated all impossibilities?
I don't need to.
Oh, you don't need to? Oh.
I don't.
You dismiss?
No, because this point here, what you're saying, something can come from nothing, is absurd. Because nothing has no properties whatsoever.
Nothing has no properties.
You're saying there's absolutely nothing and something comes from that. How does that happen? How do you get... It's like you going to a magic show.
You asked me a question. Let me think about it. You load me with another question.
Think about it.
Nothing.
I was gonna tell you something, but think about it.
No, you asked me first. No?
Yeah, go ahead.
So nothing. What is nothing?
You tell me. What does it mean in English?
The absence,
I know I'm in the UK and I'm from America, but we
the absence of everything.
Absence of everything.
Yeah.
Nothing means not a thing. It's the opposite of something.
No thing.
Yeah, no thing. No thing.
It's crazy, no?
It's crazy.
It's
exactly.
like it's conceptual.
So you can conceive of nothingness?
In my mind, in my abstract mind.
What is it? What do you see?
The absence of everything.
What does it look like?
It's kind of similar to infinite.
How do you conceive
It's
of it?
kind of synonymous with eternal.
In what sense? Sorry.
Can you conceptualize eternal?
Hold on a second. Before, you were not sure whether or not the first thing was eternal. Now you have to move to saying it's eternal.
No, I'm just saying to you, because my brain's melting at this point.
Right,
yeah. We've got these loaded words, labels, eternal, infinite, nothing.
Yeah.
Can we conceptualize any of them?
You tell me.
I cannot. Can you?
You just got through telling me. I asked you, you said nothingness is a concept. I said, can you conceptualize it? You said yes. Now you're telling me you can't.
Yeah, that's the contradiction.
That's the contradiction.
Yeah, it's like a paradox.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
so
what atheism is.
you're whoa. That'll be name calling, no?
You said it, bro.
Your God exists eternally, infinitely, and you can conceptualize that.
Yes.
Oh,
He didn't have a beginning.
you did not have. You can conceptualize didn't have a beginning, because I'm finding it very difficult to do that.
Why?
Why?
You conceived of nothingness just 5 minutes ago.
Well, if you've got your paradigm of eternal and infinite, I'm going to have nothing. How's that?
Why?
Faithfully.
Why though? Think about it. I want to know what's the real reason you have faith that everything that exists came from nothing. And you can't even conceptualize nothingness, but you have faith in this thing that's called nothingness.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
So in my dream world, I can come up with nothingness. And from that nothingness, something comes out of it.
Explain that to me.
It's
Seems very religious stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you have to humble yourself.
Yeah.
And your tiny mind might not be able to conceptualize it. Mine can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the point. You just notice the thing. First, you said that you could conceptualize it.
Yeah.
Then you said that you couldn't conceptualize it. Now you're telling me that my mind is too tiny, but maybe yours can conceive of it. So you went from conceiving it to not conceiving of it to back to conceiving it.
I had a little bit of a meltdown.
I know, but you're still
I'm
melting
back up
down
now. I'm back
No,
up. I'm
you're
back
still
up
melting
now.
down.
I'm
Well,
back.
Let me tell you this.
The caffeine has kicked in. I am back.
MashaAllah. I don't have enough faith to be an atheist.
Okay. And I don't have enough faith to be a Muslim.
Why? You believe in nothingness, which you can't even conceive of.
No, I can.
You can,
I
but
can.
then you can't. You both
No,
of them.
like I said, I had a
Both of them.
meltdown. I'm back now.
Okay, you're
I
back
can
to it.
conceive
Of
nothingness.
Okay,
The
explain
absence
it to
of
me.
everything.
Explain it to me.
It's the absence of everything.
Does it have any properties?
No.
It doesn't.
It doesn't, no.
So how does everything that exists, which has properties, come from nothing which has no properties? How does that work?
I'm stuck.
You are stuck.
Yeah.
I'm stuck. I could never possibly believe in that. I don't have enough faith for that.
I did say, in all possible worlds, it can happen.
I know, but then when I ask you how, you can't explain.
I cannot explain.
You just say you have
How
faith.
can I explain the beginning of the universe?
So how about this? What if I told you, you asked me, why do I believe that God exists?
Yeah.
And I just said, I have faith.
Uh-huh.
What do you think of that? Would you accept it?
I'll accept that you believe that.
Yeah. So just imagine that me right now, I tell you, I just have faith that God exists, and I have faith that Islam is true.
Okay. Can you can you show me? Can
No,
you demonstrate?
if I say to you, I can't show you, I just have faith.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. What's the difference between you and me?
Not a great deal.
Not a great deal.
No. You have a belief in Faith.
And you have a faith and belief in nothingness.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. Right now,
is it similar?
right now, that's the only difference.
Is it similar?
So why do you prefer?
Sorry, is it similar?
You said it was.
Are you saying?
Yeah.
It's similar.
I am.
Okay.
I'm saying to you. So now, first of all, I don't hold that position.
Okay.
Because I was giving you an argument before.
What is your position?
I believe in God. I know that God exists.
Which one?
I have arguments for God's existence. I just gave.
Can you demonstrate to me that your God is true?
Yes.
And real?
I am, my friend.
Okay, let's go.
But my point to you is this. If I approached you
Yes.
and said, I just simply have faith, would you accept it? You would accept it, would you?
I'll accept what you're saying, your statements.
So now, I want to deal with this point. Why? Because I think this is something not really intellectual.
No.
I think this is psychological. Why do you prefer nothingness rather than faith in something like a higher power, God, etc.? What do you think the reason for that is? It's a deep question.
It's a deep question. I can't answer. It's psychological.
It is.
I don't believe what you're saying. Can you demonstrate to me that what you say is true and correct?
I can.
Please.
But what I want to understand is, because to me, it boggles my mind that somebody would have faith in absolutely nothing and everything coming from that and saying, well, it's contradictory and I have faith in it, etc. But now, if a religious person were to say things like that, many times we would be laughed at. We would say, what is this guy talking about?
Are you not laughed at?
Well, usually I'm not. I'm usually the one laughing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, once again,
Yeah.
you have a God.
Yes, I do.
Can you demonstrate to me that this God exists?
Yeah. Yeah. I was just doing it before.
Yeah, I'm ready now.
So I was just